Hey y'all, this warm weather had me craving ribs and street corn, so here you go. First, you're gonna need some brown sugar and barbecue sauce. I like Sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue sauce, but you can use any kind that you want. Just make sure you get a large bottle. Squirt that bad boy in a bowl and put in about a half to 1 cup of brown sugar, depending on how sweet you like it. I do like to fill my bottle about a quarter of the way full with water. Shake it really good and mix that on in there too. Use a whisk and make sure that brown sugar is completely dissolved, and go ahead and set that aside. The brand that I normally go to for my rack of ribs is Smithfield, but again, use any brand that you want. That whole big bottle of barbecue sauce does work for both of my racks. Now I'll go ahead and open those and season them really good, rubbing in some salt and pepper, and then I get out my crock pots. 1 crock pot is gonna be for 1 rack of ribs. Don't try to squeeze both of those in there. Make sure that your bones are facing in and your meat is pressed up against the sides. Then go ahead and just pour that barbecue sauce mixture on in and make sure you cover it really well, getting all of the sides and crevices that you can. Now go ahead and pop a cover on, and you're gonna leave them on high for 6 to 8 hours. Mine are normally good in 6 hours, but if yours are really fatty, they might need a little more time. About halfway through, so we're at 3 hours now, you're gonna check on them. While you're checking on them, make sure you use a baster and cover them 1 more time. At this point, you'll be able to see if the meat's starting to fall off the bone, and you'll be good for 6 hours, or if it's still really tough, then you'll need to go for that full 8. When they're all done, they're gonna look like this. You'll take them out and put them on a baking sheet that's lined with aluminum foil, and you're going to use that baster and just put the rest of that barbecue sauce right on top. Now, no, mine are not too pretty because, like I said, they fall right off the bone. So I lost a lot of bones in the process, but kind of just pieced it together. See, there are all the bones that I've already lost just by plating them. So then we're going to go ahead and put them in the broiler on high for all of 5 minutes until you get that nice crispy top. I'm telling you, they are absolutely perfect. Okay, now it's time to make that street corn. You're gonna need a ton of seasonings: paprika, onion and garlic powder, Cajun and chili seasoning, feta cheese, lime, cilantro, mayonnaise, sour cream, salt, pepper, and olive oil. I'm doing 8 ears of corn, so if you're doing less or more, your ingredients are gonna vary, but for my 8 ears, I used about 5 tablespoons-ish of olive oil. I added in some salt and pepper to taste, not too much, in this adorable Spider-Man bowl. If you don't have a little Spider-Man bowl, you need to go out and get one. Then added 1.5 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning and 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. Also pop in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and you're just gonna mix that all together and set it aside. Now take 1 ear of corn and put it on a piece of aluminum foil. Take a baking brush and just brush that oil seasoning mixture all on top of the corn. You're gonna have some left over, but just sit it aside because we're gonna use it later. Go ahead and roll each one of those ears of corn up, line them on a baking sheet, and throw them in the oven at 325 for a half hour. While they're cooking, we're gonna make our mayonnaise mixture. So it's gonna be 1 cup of mayo, 2/3 cup of sour cream, add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. You do not need a lot. Then you're gonna add in 1.5 teaspoons of paprika, 1.5 teaspoons of your Cajun seasoning, and then take your lime, and you're pretty much gonna use 3/4 of that lime and just squirt all of that juice in there. You can use a juicer, but I like to get my hands dirty, so I hand squeezed it. Then you're gonna add a little bit of that chili powder. I just put a dash in, and then I cut up a bunch of cilantro and pretty much just threw a handful of that in there. Mix that on up and set it aside. When your corn's done, you're gonna take it out of the oven and take them all out of that aluminum foil packets that they're in. Put some oil in a cast iron skillet and melt 1 stick of butter, and then put all of those ears of corn right on in that skillet. Next, we're gonna take the rest of our oil and spice mixture, and we're just gonna brush them on top of all of the corn just to put every little bit of flavor we can in there. Now, go ahead and take that mayonnaise mixture, and you're just going to put it on top of that corn. It already looks and smells delicious, trust me. Last, you're going to finish it off with some crumbled feta cheese, and I did squirt the rest of my lime on there too, just to give it an extra flavor. Let it cook for a couple minutes and keep rolling it in that mixture, and there you have it. It pairs so good with my sweet, melt in your mouth, fall off the bone ribs. That recipe's on my page too. Don't forget to subscribe to Lost in the Sauce with Casey.